One Love and Wellness. Welcome to the next episode of Heart Happy Hour. I'm Precious Mother Love. I just want to be free. Be free. Be free. Be. Love plus art equals wellness. This is Heart Happy Hour. Welcome to the next episode. We're going to get right into it. There's some juicy juice going through it today. We'll talk about mental health or mental wellness. Mental wellness, because your mental health, it sounds like, it's a bad word. The mental health department sending you to the mental health ward. So we're going to talk about mental wellness, okay? And that could be, I want to attribute a piece of our mental health as the potential and the possibility of being related to alien behavior. Okay, that's funny, but it's not funny, and I'll tell you more about that in a hot second. I also want to talk about this full moon in Sagittarius, which was just 2 days ago, but I'm still feeling the energy. I spoke about it on my last episode that I was feeling it as it was ongoing or coming up or building up, and the planets were lining up. So now I want to discuss some traits about Sagittarius, some things to look for in yourself, and the best things to note about the Sagittarius energy that might become in a fullness, might become the flipped of the script, because it's normally in the wintertime, and so now this is in the summertime. So I want to speak to that. I also want to speak on a poem that is the name of the poem is Literal. So the poem relates to every aspect of this episode. Just so now, after I made the poem, I gathered it and put the list in order, and they relate so well. It's as though you would have thought I would have pre-thunk it, but two sides of my coin coming together, fitting just right. Thank you. We will move on into words, and then I believe the word is going to make it in. I'm not sure for sure, but the second segment that I wanted to speak on was related to language, related to words, related to alliteration or literal or literacy, and even etymology. So that is going to be related to something I found called the Doctrine of Signatures. And that's in the plant section. That's in the botanical section of my book, Signs, Symptoms, and Symbols. It's called Signs and Symbols Sourcebook. And this is by, and I've made mention of her before, ADELE NOZEDAR or NOZEDAR. And then the last segment that we'll speak to is in reference to letters and writing. Last week we spoke to the word tetragrammaton, and some of its power comes from the markings of the four letters used for the word. And so I continue to speak on the power of the words. In the beginning was the Word, and the Word was God, and the Word was with God, or whatever the three parts of it is. That recipe that I've spoken of before is used and applied for of scientifically, quantum physically, metaphysically. It has a lot of energy in the strokes, in the dots, in the line, in the word, in the tone, in the transmission, in the vocalizing, in the vortex, in all the pieces to that puzzle, how it fits into an energetic manifestation and delivery of so it is. And So I also have some art shots. You know, always take these beautiful portraits, photos around town. I am considered an I'm sorry, a Google urban photographer with about 2.8 million views of some of those photos. Just look Precious Mother Love up and you'll find them. I also want to talk about something, and I talked about this months ago, and I want to get back to it, and I want to express a little further in depth of it. But electronic illness or electronic sickness, you know, if words have vibes and vibrations, you know, and the tone and the key and the notes make a difference. You know, I'm a sing-songy person and I sing my songs. So when I speak and when I sing, you know, there are notes involved, there are tones involved, there are some scientific, musical, mathematical scores that are involved. You know, there are, if you know about music, there are apps that can score what is, I suppose, added into for interpretation. If we only knew what we don't know, what we do when we do speak, communicate, write, verbalize, iterate. And on that note, I will, is there anything else on here? No. On that note, I will get to the poem. This is called Literal. Literal. Oops, I said it again. Don't be profane. Stay in your lane or go insane. The aeroplane on the plane is plain. What's the pain? Does it feel? Is it real? What is his deal? Conceal what's ill. Maybe it's hidden in the will. I bequeath the library of laws to reveal what's in your happy meal. Huh? Is gold blood booty? Rudy Tooty on duty with a wolfy smile. Grandma hides her remedies and rides with the enemies, trying to divide an indivisible truth. In inalienable rights. An alien has rights in plain sight. It's all right to write or recite the sights the senses developed to count your 2 cents in. Tune in to the valuable roots, hopped up on potions, foggying the notion to defy and cry, or to pry and even ask why. Where's the proof? Living in polluted roofies, child-proofing the glass ceiling, Sealy's fate to propagate, to fool and rerule the drooling tools, flesh drones, now or postponed. The phone digs your treasures and your trash, and ethers of divine glutamus maximus called Opus Prime. Real E-stated, operated, remote folks don't decline transactions like the blue pill. Erections, false news still gets recognition. Again, a tool to fool pandemonium-sized goofs to reroute the Buddha juice through Jedi's baby tooth. Attest the West won. Be literal. Go forth. Alliterate your passion. Go north. Glow north. The masses, the light passes. Show your asses, pass your gases, fuel the duel, and force the force forth. First eye, Plus third eye is fourth dimensions. Senses and dollars holler and squeal to reveal you're lit at all. Truth at the toll booth. Milk in your cowboy boots. In your birthday suit. Lit for all. The naked truth. Literal, Latin, Greek, glyphs, and Hebrew. That E might be an I or a Y. Etymology of the literal proof. Literal. By Precious Mother Love. Finished today.
Rock me, baby.
One Love and Wellness, let's talk about the space launch schedule. And so I have the opportunity I'm going to share with you where I've been getting my space launch schedule information from. And I believe it's called Rocket Monkey. But spacelaunchschedule.com is what comes up in the address bar. But just about a few minutes ago, I have watched them change the status of today's launch, and it was scheduled up until about 2 minutes ago. It said it was scheduled for 4:09 UCT, and so now I don't know if it's something I did. I gave it my location, so it gave it according to what my timeline is. But from Florida, supposedly, I thought it was at 4 o'clock, but apparently it went at 12:09 today, which was a success liftoff. That was from the Falcon 9 with the Block 5. So the Starlink group set that up from the Kennedy Space Center in Florida today at noon. It was scheduled for 4, so maybe that was because I was looking at UCT time. But in any case, so now there's a second one tomorrow from California, and that's actually from a German space launch site. It's called the Vandenberg in California. And so they have one going up tomorrow. And actually what's going up is, well, what went up today was something I think that had 53 internet satellites. And so the one going up today is also related. Tomorrow is also related to satellite. And then tomorrow, the day after, which is Sunday on the 19th, they come back to Florida. And that's actually with the same Falcon 9 Block 5 rocket. So it goes up, launches, releases, comes back. It lands somewhere in the ocean. I think the German one lands on an on-land location in California. And then the same, comes back to Florida again on Sunday. And so another Falcon 9's Block 5 launch goes up. And it is returning. It continues there, thinking that it's going to get somewhere around 50 some launches out of that. They're relaunching that particular, and many of them are being relaunched. And they used to go through this rigorous, testing, and I think like 9 or 10 times they've done that. I believe 24, 25, and 26 is the number that this Falcon has been sent up, returned, sent up, returned, sent up, returned. So today is 24, tomorrow's 25, and then 26. So they say, that there are at least that many left within the year between now and December, that they expect that rocket will launch and return. And oh, by the way, they have some really interesting names, revealing names. They name them, and they sound similar to how you name your boats. But anyway, let's not go there just in case there's a youth in earshot. In any case, One Level Wellness, the shuttles are launching, and there are plenty of satellites in our air if you now count the 53. I believe they say those satellites were launched for internet and GPS uh, enhancements. Okay, so, but they could tell us anything, and who knows? Never know. Just stay tuned, keep your eyes and ears open, and be open, not closed, to the potentials and possibilities that can occur. Things like what we've seen in movies, things like what we've read in books, things like we never thought were real, things that can happen in real life now. Well, love and wellness, love plus art equals wellness. But for now, here's an art break. Music by Nat Love, my music producer and sponsor. Now, let's talk about energetic illnesses or electronic sickness, as I have it written here, um, which could include drone programming or any sort of electronic or energetic programming, which is sometimes entrained or entranced into music that we hear. So, I would say if music, the key of the music or the tone of the music, like if you're listening to something that is so sad that it makes you cry, or that you're listening to something that's so upbeat and so vibrant that it makes you want to dance, or if you're listening to something that has discord in it, what that could do. Um, like the marching around and then all bellowing your horns at the same time. These energetic or electronic or emissions all have an impact. I learned that from a bird. And I'll tell you why I say that, because I spoke my story about the squirrels and how the squirrels have been bothering me for 7 years. And now, since then, which was the last full moon that I first talked about it, and now 2 days ago, this full moon. So this is the first full moon past that agreement that I made with the birds. A little birdie told me, a little birdie came and he had something to say, and he whispered in my ear, and he said that there's a bigger picture, that it goes deeper, that the tones, because I was playing these tones trying to get rid of these, what I considered a nuisance at the time, but it was just their needing to have a place to live, and I had to think about that. So I actually have a story about yesterday. So everybody, most of the squirrels, all the squirrels are pretty much abiding by the agreement that the bird and I put in place to, like, sort of brokered a deal with me and the squirrels. Sounds so kooky, but I'm telling you the truth. Since the last full moon to this full moon, there had been no activity until this full moon. There was one squirrel, and I guess he didn't get the picture, but he was really, really, he was like, yeah, nobody else claimed, nobody, I'm going to do my, and he went around like he was having a party, and he was running around. What happened is the other squirrels were scolding him and telling him, you can't act like that anymore. This is a sacred space now. This is a sacred place. We've made a sacred agreement. You have to now abide by this. And so he was, I'm not going, and I'm going to do my thing. And so the squirrels chased him until he learned his lesson. And he actually came up the steps and apologized to me today. I believe they made him come apologize. And I saw that they had taken chunks of his fur off. He was looking like they were ready to tear him apart because they did not want to ruin their sacred agreement. I have to be amazed by that. But that squirrel came up the steps yesterday, and he looked very humbly and very sad and very sickly at me, and letting me know that he apologized for causing such a ruckus. I mean, it makes my heart hurt to think about how humble it must have been of a moment for him to come up and speak to me and say to me, I sincerely apologize, Queen. Goddess, whatever his energy that he was, he was reverent of my energy. So whew, that was amazing of a moment. So, but in any case, all of that, you know, even though I observed the running around, I could hear them fussing and fighting. Even though I could hear the initial brokering of the deal, even though I could verbalize this to you now, none of that was external. None of that did I say out loud, hey, Birdie, can you broker a deal? No. The bird came to me and humbly placed his communication into a range that I could accept and recognize. And so, anyway, that was energetic. That was in an energy level range that I was able to register, to recognize, and interpret. And it became a literal transaction. And, I don't know how well you will or won't accept that, but it's my truth and I'm standing on it, honey. One Love and Wellness, Love+Art equals wellness. This is paying it forward for my ancestors. From them to now, financial success. Ooh, yes, intentions. Burn bright. Well, Love and Wellness, let's start with the full moon in Sagittarius. So Sagittarius has some traits that I want to amplify for you. And it looks like, ooh, I opened it straight to the page. I thought I lost the page, and there it is. So Sagittarius is usually in the winter of the year. And so the full moon in Sagittarius being in the summer actually flips the script for Sagittarius. And, Sagittarius is a fire sign. And the planet, let's see if it has here, the ruling planet is Jupiter. So, and it rules the thighs and the hips of the body. There's a couple of flowers, pink flowers that represent it. And let's see if I can find the stone. The gemstone is Topaz. Okay. So the qualities that I want to bring out about the Sagittarius is that they are a hunter. And it is a masculine sign. So being that it's a hunter, the arrow represents the hunter. It's personified by the hunter, being that they, go hunting. And the arrow is sort of like a Cupid sort of thing, It focuses on, tunes into. And so Sagittarius is represented or personified by a hunter. And so the element of enlightenment is what the arrow is seeking. And so the wider picture, Aries is looking at the bigger picture, and then it sends out the arrow to, it's like the bullseye. This is what I'm after. This is what I'm hitting. And so being that it's on the feminine side, meaning the moon side of the Sagittarius, the hunt, it actually is on hunt for the spiritual food or the spiritual like root chakra stuff, the houses, wherever you're Sagittarius right now, it's honing in on that specific house, because Sagittarius is being personified or how enhanced, or it's going into the bigger picture on the spiritual side right now. So it's elevating to new levels, new heights, And it is, you're gonna feel that those things are on your spiritual bullseye list, hit list, are being stirred up, or being, there's a fire being lit under those things. There's some energy that's stirring up in those areas, in those houses, in those zones. So just to, stay on the lookout for that. And so, this full moon, the way I have been feeling it is, all of the things that I did as a child, that I found joy in as a child, those things are the things that are being accentuated right now. Meaning, because those are some of the things that I'm actually, making jewelry as a child, getting into the stones as a child, collecting stones, giving stones away, not knowing, any of the things that I know now about that. But I started doing those things when I was, 5, 6, 7 years old, and continued doing those things until I became an adult doing those things now. And in the background, you'll see some of the things that I use for some of my classes, because I have some more vision board, dream board work classes that are coming up. And I want to make sure that I invite you to those things. They are virtual this month, and we're having another full moon event where we'll do a mini session of that next month in July. Love and wellness, love plus art equals wellness. There's a family of ducks. Looks like the big brother is leading them across the parking lot. Well, love and wellness, they're watching their youngin' grow and teach them how to go. And that's what I see happening, because they've zigzagged across the parking lot a couple times, just letting youngin' lead them to and from. Ashe, ashe, one love, love plus art equals wellness. So moving on to, let's talk a little bit about mental wellness. And so I have been exposed to a lot of people who are considered in another mindset, or their mindset is not in accordance to what they consider the normal spectrum. So when I look at that, I looked at the fact that some of them are in a different mindset because of an accident, jarring their brain, injuring their brain injury. Some of them are from chemical imbalances, which are things like drugs, or food induced, or combinations of foods, or combination of things in the air, because things like lead paint can make your brain respond differently. Things that you inhale, things that are in the air, whether it's mold or fungus or bacteria, things that are airborne. We had a pandemic size response to bad air or airborne situations. I am saying a lot of ums today, and I want to stop that. And so I think this may be a quicker session today, I'm hoping. Now that we've talked about the full moon, and I did touch on a little bit of the reasons why you could be considered not in your right mind. I want to talk about, some of the things that I think could be promoting behavior other than those things. I think, if there is have you ever heard of something called shapeshifters? Have you ever heard of, being possessed? Have you ever heard of possession being an alien, that inhabits the controls of what your vessel, that vessel would be doing? So, in my opinion, I have come across a vessel that was possessed by an alien. And I think that was Mr. Charlie. I mean, I have actually encountered a number of vessels that did not have just a human in control. As I mentioned, Mr. Charlie, when his cloak of deception came down, he was he had a big snout, and it, I can't even make my mouth do it, but his mouth was bigger, his teeth were bigger, there was something dripping down off of his, it was amazing that I was able to see this kind of thing in a flash or in an instant. And if you've ever seen, is it Supernatural? No. No, yeah, I think it is on Supernatural in the beginning of the show. There's so many shows that have given me glimpses of things that have happened in my life. And when I see it, I'm like, ooh, is that, because a lot of the things that I have recognized, are now being openly discussed in a way that I believe allows me to openly discuss it and not be considered cuckoo. But that's the thing. There are times when I have come across people that how they looked at you, when they looked at you, it was as though it wasn't them looking at you, it was something else, because their eyes took on a different shape or something. And what I saw, I don't know if I could do it, because I don't think there's something in me. But I've seen it happen to other people, and those sometimes are people that I've seen that have had injuries. And sometimes, like, I don't know if it's a tradition in our, I don't know how to say it. I don't know if it's considered good or bad to talk about these things, but I'm gonna, do my best to be very honest and open about things that have happened to me. If I go back to like the age of 5, things that happened to me back at that age opened my mind to the things that are now happening to me at this age. And the very first thing that happened that I recall, that I can say, I have recollect of, is walking through into other dimensions. I used to say walking through walls, but at some point, eventually, I absorbed myself into the wall, became the wall. I was hiding from a spirit that was chasing me, and I went into the wall. And I'm glad I got out of the wall, because eventually that spirit or that energy or that darkness, because it was a dark energy that was following me, that was trying to get into me, it probably could have joined me had it joined the same object I was in, being the wall. But anyway, all right, let's go into some of the creations that are being exhibited today. As you know, the crown and the stones, and they are connecting to the crystals in my essence. This is a clear crystal quartz and is a bracelet. It's got a latch. It's able to be adjusted to small or large. And I'm wielding a green agate. And it's kind of lime, and it's got a little bit of a blue greenness to it. That's a green agate. This is a green crystal. On Love of Wellness, Love plus Art equals wellness. This bracelet matches the piece here, which is on my neck. And of course, you have continued to see, let's just say they also match the earrings. And this is full, chocked full of stones. Everything, here's some more green crystal, to amethyst, to citrine, to tiger's eye, to hematite. I said amethyst, to ruby, to onyx. This is some more tiger's eye, to some red coral, clear crystal quartz, more hematite. OMG, lots of energy for me, and beautiful, beautiful energy, beautiful connection that it makes with me. So I'll continue on with the last piece that I want to speak to, which is my word, which is, I said I wanted to speak to ill and then ness. So if you are ill to the ness, meaning you are taking on an excessive position toward the word ill, illness. So if you want to take on well to the ness, to the excessive, you can do that too. Wellness. You can choose, and the next word is choice. And I'm saying this the way I'm saying it because you have to look at what you're putting together and make it make sense to you. If you weren't paying attention to it before, you now need to look at the itty bitty itnesses, the literal, the pieces and the pieces going together, the antonym, the synonym, the prefix, the suffix, because all of them have a certain energy or place as you put them together, like snapping them together like Legos. They each carry their own energy, but then when they're put together, have their own, solidness or solidify in that way. So I wanted to speak on how when these illness, something to the nest, something to the wellness to the nest, choices, as we vocalize our choices, our voices are going through these vortexes and being heard through vortexes. And once they are entering into this, interpretation process that you put into place to interpret or recognize what the message is. I believe as we, write the vision, make it plain, or as you, the word came first, and the word was God, and the word was with God. When we start recognizing that there's such a literal truth in the essence, excuse me, and my spirit does that to me and keeps giving me when I'm supposed to change what I'm trying to speak or what's coming out my mouth. It gives me the hiccup, sort of a sign, a high sign. So when you scribe or vocalize or think, so all those are energetic ways of introducing or materializing or manifesting the thing that's being written, or the thing that's being vocalized, or the thing that's being spoken, thought, heard. The thoughts are things. I read, what's that man name? I better not get into names because I'm such a bad person with names. I'm going to get better with names. I'm getting better with names. I'm great with names. If I could think of that name, I'd say it, but I don't say it right now because I can't. But in any case, I hope you enjoyed the art that you've seen in this episode. I hope that you enjoyed this episode. I hope that you got something out of the words that I've spoken. I hope that you have enjoyed the music that has been played by Nat Love and Precious Mother Love and Dion the Entertainer. We're hoping that you will come back next episode where we'll finish up talking about the different beings I have encountered and start a whole new ball of wax with mental illness. I've spoken about the word illness and wellness. I gave you my poem, Literal. And I'm hoping that you have learned something that will help you heal yourself, love yourself, be more into self-care, self-love, and will enhance your journey with something that I have put in your bee bonnet today. When love and wellness, love plus art equals wellness. I'm Precious Mother Love. Let's play some music on the way out. Is there something that's cute? I think the first part of that song that I was playing earlier, I think it may, let me see if it gets loud. Do-do-do-do-do-do, do-do-do. Do you really love me? Do you love me? Loving you, loving me, loving you, loving me, yeah. One love and wellness, love plus art equals wellness. I hope you can hear my music. I can barely hear it myself, but I think you can hear it. La, 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 love. Love is in the air. It's summertime. Enjoy.